If you could meet the President of the United States right now, what would you give him?
This president?
Yeah.
Probably a slap.
How hard?
Just a little one. Like that. Just for the insult. So I've always said if I could teleport anywhere, it was a question, so if you could teleport somewhere and then teleport back, where would it be? And like, all the answers like, oh yeah, you go like, to a bank. So no, I'd go to the Oval Office. I'd take a shit on the president's desk and then teleport out. Just because they'd never figure out it was me. Anyway, continue. At the height of his fame, Elvis Presley was a man who could get away with pretty much anything. A fact no better proven than that time he walked into the President of the United States office and handed him a gun.
A gun?
Like a real gun. Like one that was like you could shoot someone with this gun, and Elvis like, there you go, President. It's a gun.
Is this to do with like that famous picture of Nixon and Elvis?
Yes, the one that's like probably behind me right now as we talk about it. I think it's called like When the King Met the President.
Yeah,
which is a really cool name for a photo.
Yeah.
And the story behind it is like really hilarious because you're probably thinking, okay, so when Elvis met the president, that must have been a meeting that took weeks, if not months, to arrange. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, there must be a bit of a waiting list
to meet the fucking president. Which points out, the point Elvis met Nixon, he wasn't the reviled, laughing stock he is today. He was still a fairly popular president, all things considered. But no, Elvis arranged the meeting on a whim, and it took him less than a day to secure a meeting with the most powerful man in the world.
I mean, you just can't imagine that now, just racking up at the White House, all right, done.
Well, people can. Obviously, if you're famous enough. It's like, is it Dennis Rodman?
Yeah.
The basketball player who basically just rocked up to North Korea and met Kim Jong-il. And no one give a fuck, he's that famous. There are celebrities who can do that. I think when Barack Obama was in power, a bunch of celebrities had the ability to just walk in and see him. I think Denzel Washington basically could walk in and just talk to the president.
I mean, it's a good little contact to have, isn't it? If you're having a bit of trouble. Oh, I know Barrett.
Just call him, I'm going to call Barry and get this fucking sorted out right now. So it's not like people can't just walk in and meet the president. It's just that the kind of people who can and could historically get away with it were so famous that they could get past the guards on the front gate. So obviously, it's not the president you got to compete with, because obviously he has an army of aides and assistants and guards stopping him. It's like whether or not you can convince the guards guarding him to give you that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what Elvis did.
Why did he want to just go and meet the president though?
Well, it apparently all started because Elvis got yelled at by his wife and his family because he'd spent $100,000 for Christmas buying cars and guns to give people as presents. Because that's what Elvis did. Did you know about Elvis's Cadillac and gun lust?
No, I knew he had a spending habit.
Yeah, he did. Well, obviously he was Elvis, so it's not like he's ever going to run out of money. But Elvis would get yelled at by his accountant every couple of weeks because one of his favourite things to do when he met people was give him a Cadillac or a gun or both. And he's reported that he would give away 30 Cadillacs a year to people just to say thank you. And they're still around today, obviously, the Elvis Cadillacs. If Elvis gives you a fucking car, you're going to maintain that shit. They're worth a lot of money. But I like the idea that he goes sit down with his account. It's like, how many Cadillacs have you given away this year, Elvis? He goes, a few. Because you give away 30. Stop doing this.
Why Cadillacs?
Elvis liked them. So he figured, I want to share my love of this car with you. Also, it's a really expensive present that people can get a lot of use out of. And it's noted that whenever Elvis would, get driven somewhere by a chauffeur, we'd always ask the same set of questions. It's like, do you like this job? Do you own your own car? And they would always answer, yes, I love the job. No, the car belongs to the company. And what he'd do at the end of it, he'd say, no, you own it now. And he'd call the company and say, that's their car, I'm Elvis. So he'd tip people the car they drove. And it's like, oh, what a fucking don.
I mean, I work in a pub and that'd just be lovely. Just oh, how was your meal? Oh yeah, here's a Cadillac.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing you do. He'd just throw the car keys at someone, that's your car now.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, he also loved collecting guns, and he would give away guns as well. Because obviously, fuck it, I'm Elvis, I'm going to get more. But just that idea, he got yelled at by his wife. Stop buying guns and cars. Your family's got enough. And he went away and sulked to Los Angeles. And while he was sat in LA sulking about this argument, he went, man, do you know what's a real pain in the ass? Getting guns on planes. Or getting guns and drugs across the border. Do you know what I bet that's really easy for? People with federal credentials. I should go get federal credentials. I should go meet the president and ask for some.
It literally just sounds like a midlife crisis at that very moment, doesn't it?
So I need the ability to carry guns and drugs across the border. So what he did is he got a red eye to Washington, and while he was there on airplane stationery, just wrote a letter to the president just saying, Mr. President, I want to be a federal agent. I will do everything in my power to make this true, and I will help you combat something like the counterculture youth that's rallying against you.
Yeah.
And he wrote that letter and he went to the front of the White House in like a big car, big tinted sunglasses on, rolled down the window and just handed it to a guard. And the guard went, "Are you Elvis?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm Elvis. I'm staying at this hotel under this name. I'll be there for the next few days. Please let the president know." And it just so happened that this guy was a big fan of Elvis and like, fucking too right. I'm gonna try and get this message to the president. And he took it in and the president got to explain to him like, who the fuck's Elvis?
That aide definitely got offered a Cadillac and a gun.
Everyone gets Cadillacs and guns when Elvis is in town. But the story goes like Nixon didn't really know who Elvis was, but he read the letter and went, "Oh man, yeah, I am my approval rating with young people is pretty bad at the moment." And in Elvis's letter, he said, "Yeah, I can help. The radical counterculture that's going on at the moment because I think you need my help."
So you said that Elvis wanted federal credentials.
Yes, because he falsely believed that people with federal credentials could travel anywhere in the United States they wanted with guns and drugs. They couldn't, but we'll talk about it in a moment.
I just love that idea.
Yeah.
Well, which one was it that he wanted?
He specifically wanted a badge from the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. A badge, I should point out, didn't exist. And he wanted to be made specifically a federal agent at large. A position, I should also note, didn't exist. But Elvis thought that it did. And this wasn't out of the ordinary for Elvis because he was a huge lover of law enforcement. And one of the things he'd always do whenever he went to a new town was ask, "Can I meet with the police sergeant, the sheriff? And can I get a badge, please?" And more often than not, they were more than happy to just give him a badge because obviously, yeah, fucking Elvis, we'll give him a badge. That's really cool.
Haven't they got a Cadillac?
Presumably, yeah. But what he do is they give him a badge, and they thought Elvis just wanted the badge, just to have. But Elvis, when he got the badge, believed that made him then a deputy sheriff, and he would drive around arresting people.
Oh my God.
And the stories about people having fist fights when Elvis was back, and he'd drive past, notice it, jump out of his car, because Elvis, fun fact, knew karate, would strike a karate pose and go, "Come on then, bring it on," beat people up and then arrest them.
I just there's a bit in a British TV show called Only Fools and Horses that just reminds me of. It's just the idea of people having a fight and then Elvis runs towards him.
Yeah, it's like when just Batman turns
Batman
up.
and Robin out the mist.
Oh man, is that the greatest fucking visual gag ever?
Yeah, I can't remember how much I laughed, but I know that I nearly passed out.
And there is, with the picture presumably behind me right now, and I will say that for many years I've been trying to get somebody to go to a Halloween party with me, because I'm really tall. I kind of look a bit like Rodney from the show, and I'll go as tall Robin if someone goes as short Batman. I've said that I will do that, so that's a standing offer to any of my friends who watch these videos. If you're shorter than me and you want to go to a Halloween party, we can do that.
I mean, do I qualify?
Probably.
I'm 6 foot.
We can go for it.
Or do you want someone smaller to...
The shorter you are, the funnier it is. But anyway, I digress.
So I was just setting this scene. So Elvis walks into the Oval Room with a gun to meet the president. What was it like?
It was apparently very awkward because Nixon didn't really know who Elvis was. He was just told by aides. The things that Elvis is promising that he can do, he can probably deliver on them because he's fucking Elvis. He's one of the most popular, famous people in America right now. And what happened was, Elvis walked in, but before he did that, he was stopped by one of the security guys, "What's that?" "Oh, it's a gift for the president." "What is it?" "A gun." And they told him, flat out, no guns in the Oval Office. And Elvis went, "But it's a gift." And obviously, there was a brief, awkward standoff until the guards just went, "Fuck it, let him in." So people imagine that Elvis pulled out a handgun and said, "This is a present for the president." No, it was he's in a nice, well-presented glass box, and it was one of Elvis's own guns from apparently he was just hung on his bedroom wall before he set off. He liked to carry guns around with him for some reason. And the guy was like, "Oh, fuck it. What? He's not going to shoot the president, is he?" So they let him in, they have the meeting, they shake hands, and they have an awkward about 5 to 10 minute conversation, during which Elvis got on Nixon's good side by shitting on the Beatles. Because at the time, the Beatles were just starting to get big in America, and the counterculture hippie revolution was in full swing, and Nixon didn't like that. And Elvis went, "Yeah, I don't think those those British fops they're doing good for this country. I will do everything in my power to help keep them down. Fuck the Beatles." And I thought it was really funny as well because apparently Paul McCartney heard about this and got really annoyed about it. He's like, "Oh man, it's we were promoting drug culture and stuff like that over there, but Elvis wanted to get that badge so he could carry drugs."
I mean, just going back to the gun, it's badass, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I am so famous, I can walk into the room with the most powerful man on the planet and hand him a fucking gun. But it gets just a little bit cooler because according to people present, the first thing Elvis did after handing Nixon the gun was say, "Do you want an autograph?" So he asked the president if the president wanted his autograph, and Nixon was so taken aback, he went, yes. So Elvis signed him an autograph.
Hello, you're the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah, you can meet anybody you want. Yeah, do you want an autograph? He's like, well, yeah, I guess so. I do. Yeah, give me one. And then they had this awkward. And then, Elvis went for the jugular and went, do you know what would really help me though? Help you, stop the Beatles and these, these counterculture types from, passing your bus, from blocking your shine. If I had a badge from, the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. At which point Nixon looked over to one of his, his aides and went, "Can I give him a badge?" And the aide just gave him that look that says, "You're the president, so yeah." Again, remember, this badge didn't exist, but the president could do whatever the fuck he wants. So Nixon went, "Well, get him a badge." And what he did is he then gave Elvis, a gift of some, presidential cufflinks. At which point Elvis went, "Well, what about these guys? They've been here." So Nixon then gave, the people who escorted Elvis in some cufflinks as well. And then Elvis, pushing his luck just that little bit more, went, "They've also got wives at home, So Nixon, fuck's sake, went to his desk and got out a brooch for each of them as well. So not only did he get a badge, he also got gifts for the two guys who brought him in and gifts for their wives.
I mean, it just reminds me on, The Office, when that guy goes just for a base level job and ends up owning the company.
Yeah, what's his name now? Robert California.
Yeah, he's so brave and strong that he goes in and just takes over the business.
Yeah, he convinced someone to give them his job. He drives to someone's house and gets their job. So then, as Elvis was leaving, they took his details, and a couple of days later, he got his badge, which he believed made him a federal agent at large. It didn't. It gave him no powers whatsoever. But it is noted that Elvis carried that badge with him everywhere he went. He was even buried with it. And he would flash it whenever he got pulled over by the police. But, let's just for a moment say you pull Elvis over. You pull someone over and you don't know it's Elvis.
Yeah.
You go over and, oh my God, it's Elvis. And you notice he's got a gun and he's got some drugs on his thing. And you go, "Oh, do you have a permit for those?" And he pulls out a badge you have never seen before, but that is very clearly, high up from the government. And you look at it and you go, "Okay, Mr. Elvis." And you call it in. And you go, "Is there such a thing as, the Federal Bureau of, Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs? Do they have federal agents at large?" And they say no. And you look back and you go, "But Elvis has got a badge." He goes, "Well, who did you get it from?" "Elvis, who'd you get a badge from?" "The president." "Oh, well, I guess you better let him go." Thanks, that guy, man. It's one of those things where you'd argue with him. And then when he says, "Where'd you get that badge?" He goes, "The fucking president." You go, well, you can't really argue with that, can you? It's he must be able to.
It's just "Oh, do you want me to give old Dick a ring?"
Yeah, just give Dick a ring. We can get it sorted out right now. It's okay. And then he's probably presumably pull out one of their badges too. Because if it doesn't work, I'm also a deputy in your department. Because I guess you better do what you want.
He's like Elvis, a government spy then.
Well, you just do whatever you want. Just the idea though of that's not a real badge. Well, it's real because I got it from the president. It was specially minted just for me. It's well, you better let him off then. Clearly, he knows more than us.
Or was that traffic cop feeling a bit brave and "If you give me a Cadillac, I may make this go away."
Oh, man. It don't matter if you can make it go away. He's a federal agent at large. So we've talked about Elvis's, crippling Cadillac giving away habit, which is baller as fuck. So what's, the weirdest or most extravagant gift you've ever seen or heard of being given to somebody?
I mean, we had a weekend in Amsterdam bought for us at work.
Oh. Was it everyone on staff or?
Whoever worked the event. So basically we had a comedy club and an entire company bought the room.
Oh.
So they owned every seat. They came to it and just said, "Right, here's 1,500 quid, do what you want." And then there was 10 of us, and Liberal Democrats had a conference a weekend coming up at our venue.
Okay.
So we were shut. So then we just went, let's just go away. So we just paid for a holiday for 10 of us.
He's got tips a holiday. That's pretty fucking baller. That's pretty baller. So, I've not heard of many overly extravagant gifts being given away because I'm more of the mindset that a gift, especially at Christmas, should be something funny. So I ask for the same thing every year from my parents, and it's a bottle of booze and then pants and socks, and then something with my name on it.
Links Africa?
No, I always get that anyway. But anyway, but I'm trying. I don't think there's anything I've heard it's a crazy ass. It's here's a holiday. Fuck you, holiday.
The worst bit was I felt ill.
Oh no!
I was ill that weekend. So
the thing is, even if you weren't ill when you went, you'd have been ill when you came back.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's Amsterdam, baby. But I think when I went there, I remember going and just going like, I don't partake in any of like, the things that Amsterdam is famous for. So I actually went to a coffee shop and drank a coffee. And the person behind the counter like legitimately went, really? I went, yeah, I want a latte, please. And they made me the shittest latte I've ever seen, because obviously they're stoned off their tits from like, contact high. So I ended up getting this latte. It's like this much foam, that much coffee. As my mate just smokes this giant big spliff. He goes, is that all right coffee? I went, no, but it'll do.
I could just imagine him like dusting the coffee machine off.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, well, we don't know what to do, because I legitimately just ordered a coffee. And it's like...
We walked into one, and he just went, are you English? I went, yeah. He just went, out. He didn't want us.
Oh, man. I still remember though, I went over there. This is how long ago I went, 'cause it's when Brexit happened.
Oh, really?
We're still going on, yeah. And I remember I got to a little hostel somewhere and went, oh, you need a tenner for the room, 10 any currency for the room key. Oh, for fuck's sake. I went, in my wallet, I've got 10 British pounds. But no, we can't take that. So why not? It's too unstable.
Oh.
And then they joke, no, we'll take it. I'm like, I won't blame you, to be honest. It's probably worth a £5 now. We've been gone 2 weeks. We don't know what's going on. And I think that's probably my favourite thing about Brexit is every time you hear news about it, it's, oh, have you seen the new Brexit pound coins? It's just a 50p. Every time.
Oh, it's never. I don't think it's going to happen. It's just going to get put back and put back and put back.
I like the idea of it becoming like this, like centuries down the line. It's just a tradition that people follow and they don't know why. It's just every year we ask like Brussels for an extension, but we don't know what we do. It's an extension for.
They're going to make a film about it, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I remember that because the day that we voted, like in or out, I was in America and I flew back and it was like, the nightmare journey that you had, but a lot better.
Yeah.
And I got to Sheffield after like 14, 15 hours of travelling, and it's like, all right, decide if you want to be in the EU or not. I'm there just like,
be right.
If I aim this hand somewhere, I'll tick a box.
Oh man, it'd be all good. Anyway, yeah.